Oh crap, oh crap. Alia, did I miss Megaman X4?
You did, X. But Zero already took care of it. It looks like he's back now.
Way to go, buddy. At this rate, you'll get your own series. Screw you, man. Hey, you wanna go check out Space Colony Eurasia?
Megaman X4.
Look who's back at it again. It's time to review X4, but is it really all it's hyped up to be? Maybe. I guess by today's standards of gaming, it has held up very well. But is it Mega Man X1 levels of greatness? According to the internet, nothing comes close to Mega Man X1. But I disagree. While X1 is good and all, I enjoyed how the series progressed power-ups and music. I know this is controversial, but I don't really care about X1's soundtrack. It's okay, but I think the later entries had better music. And before you at me, remember the X vs. Zero song wasn't on X1 or X4. Anyway, back to X4. Where to start? Where to start? Oh, I know. Being an original fan, I remember when this game came out for the PS1. Yeah, the first one. And it was a big deal. The sounds and visuals got a huge overhaul. They included cutscenes and, voice acting. And back in the day, I couldn't just Google the cutscenes to X4 and watch them online. I had to earn them. Which, let me tell you, old PlayStation games use the cutscenes in games as a gimmick to keep you playing them. The glorious cutscene was a reward to all the legit players out there. When you progressed the story, you got to see what your character actually looked like, and see how cool they were in a cutscene. It was like a way to cheat and enhance the graphics of a game for 2 minutes. Man, that takes me back. There were so many times when you unlocked a cutscene and you would pause the game and go get your friends so you could show it off to them. I'm telling you, those cutscenes worked, man. You got to show a miniature movie to your friends and brag about how far you got in that game. X4 was like that too. When you chose Capcom's favorite, Zero, he actually got more cutscenes in the game, which actually gave you backstory to his character. It also kind of annoys me nowadays he has a cutscene instead of a real fight with the Colonel midway through the game. But that was the cool part of X4. You could watch a cutscene of Zero and his cringy lines as a reward for beating half the game. Okay, we do need to talk about the voice acting. In the 90s, voice acting for anime was non-existent and barely scraped by. X4 was no exception. I always dock X4 on points because X sounds really stupid in that game. Command Mission, X8, and Maverick Hunter X have the best voice for X in my opinion, but X4 ain't it, chief. Although my mind was blown when I found out that the Japanese version of X4 has some decent voice acting. Like, X sounds pretty cool in that version. Although it isn't perfect, Colonel doesn't sound as good in that version. Sadly, you can't have it all. But imagine my surprise when I found out people make fun of Zero's voice acting way more than X's. Although they do have a point. When 90s trope of girlfriend dying in PlayStation game came around, Zero did not deliver. Other than that, I thought Zero was decent and sounded like he should. But enough of visuals, nostalgia, and bad voice acting. Does the game hold up? Is it fun? The answer is clearly yes. It had fun levels, weapons, and bosses. It does lack replayability though, a thing I really enjoy in my X titles. In X2 and 3, you could make choices that affect the endgame stages and create different outcomes. In X4, the only replayability you get is to choose a different character or use cheat codes and unlock the best armor ever. Unfortunately, you can't make any choices in-game that change the outcome of the endgame content. Colonel was wasted in this regard. He could have changed some outcomes if you could spare him or something. I guess I just came to expect that from X games after X2 gave you a choose-your-own-adventure subquest to do. Sometimes it made the game harder and sometimes it made no sense to the story. But it was fun to choose along the way. I guess that's one of my favorite things of the X series from the classic Mega Man series. Your actions have consequences, and X and Zero don't always win these scenarios, even though they beat the main bad guy. The classic series always returns you to the status quo when the day is saved. In the X series, one battle leads to another and creates bigger problems, with no real answers. Kinda like real life. Just kidding. But seriously. Anyway, X4 is a great game. That is fun to play and look at and sometimes listen to. It's kind of like a time capsule of the 90s for a leap forward in gaming that promised more in-depth characters and cooler graphics that could be the new reward for playing video games. Until the internet happened and cutscenes could be viewed without playing your game. And now we can't have nice things. Much like what the creator of Smash Bros. Said about making cutscenes for his games. But that's a different topic. It's a shame. I like having these cutscenes in my games, but thanks to the advent of the internet and Let's Plays, I would argue cutscenes are becoming obsolete, and video games are slowly becoming more games than stories. Just look at the most recent Mega Man game, Mega Man 11. Did it have any cutscenes? Not really. It mostly relied on gameplay to carry it through. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, Mega Man X4 was an ambitious game that was going to redefine the series. But instead, its sales fell short, and later entries would pass on storytelling and cutscenes and stick to the status quo. It's a shame, because X4 has a great story that could have broken the mold of having Sigma always be the main baddie. In my opinion, the X series has a lot of untapped potential and a whole world of characters and scenarios that we haven't explored yet. But for now, we'll have to stick to nostalgia and legacy collections. And maybe one day, we'll see an X9. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. See you next time.